A couple of days ago, a certain Cervantes decided that he wanted to create a little performance art lucha libre debate type thing that involved basically me representing the human race to debate against a robot. Before I knew it, Richard Bradbury had come in, we were at Star Hill, and here's what happened.
This is a very interesting session we are having here. To see you guys are interested to learn about, is AI going to replace human in their job? We have two amazing debaters. We have Victor Tan, who will be representing the human side, and we also have Richard Bradbury from BFM, who will be the voice of AI ChatGPT.
Which is interesting for us. For the first few times, somebody else will be speaking on my behalf, and all I'm doing is reading.
Victor will start first, and then ChatGPT will reply, where we will get Richard to actually share.
Amazing, cool. So the formal motion for our debate is going to be, this house believes that AI would replace humans in most spheres of work.
Are you guys ready?
Alright, go for it.
Okay, let's do this. So I'll let Victor present the argument.
Okay then. Ladies and gentlemen, the government believes fervently that artificial intelligence should replace human beings in most areas of work. This argument is founded upon the belief that at the end of the day, work is a source of drudgery. It takes us away, in many cases, from our deepest passions, and it takes us away from the realization of our true creative nature. As we move forward, of course, there is an argument to be said that work is a source of creativity and inspiration on a day-to-day basis. But that is exactly why, ladies and gentlemen, the government is arguing that artificial intelligence should replace humans in most spheres of work. Those which we deem most drudgerous, those which we deem most uninteresting, those that consume us and take every single bit of our spirits away, replacing them with instead moments of toil, moments of suffering that are dedicated towards poring through Excel spreadsheets and wondering about how we're going to meet a deadline. As we ponder our dearest moments with our families being consumed away, imagine that vacation with your family being thrown essentially away because you have to meet a last-minute deadline. The promise of economics and of the rising tide of wealth is that essentially as living standards improve, that ultimately we should be able to have our work be replaced essentially by technology. And we have already seen this happen, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to quote a statistic from McKinsey & Company that declares that by 2030, it is estimated that 30% of existing work hours can be automated with technology. You say that this is a future that is far away and is unreachable. Well, the government contends that this is not the case at all. When we think about a revolution that is to come, the first thing that many people think about is that such a revolution is far away. But you have seen that revolution take place whenever you go past essentially an auto gate, whenever you drive past the tolls. You see that people no longer are there. They have been replaced essentially by robots. Some people contend that robots essentially replacing human beings is undesirable, that the economic consequences of this fallout are going to be damaging and completely irredeemable. But the government contends that human beings throughout the entire course of history have found ways to substitute the work that they are doing for different forms of work. More creative, more of you, less of the work that characterizes so much of the modern world. Ladies and gentlemen, this house believes that at the end of the day, we should replace human beings with technology. Some may contend that technology is unable to facilitate this replacement, but we would be going against the tide of history. We would be going against the direction of Moore's law. We would be replicating the errors of those who declared firsthand that robots could never demonstrate creativity, but were confounded when artificial intelligence art generators came to the fore, generating for us works that have become even worthy of critical acclamation, such as the Théâtre du Opéra Spatial. Ladies and gentlemen, as we consider the direction forward of the future, I see, the government sees, this House sees, and I hope that each and every one of you will see. Pandora's box has already been opened, and technology and its spirit have already come out into the world. And with that, the government rests its case and asserts that we should replace human beings with AI technology for our good and for our future.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Victor. So now we will actually, what will happen is, while ChatGPT transcribes this, and it will basically generate an argument for Victor's notion. What do you think? What do you think? How do you think you do?
I don't know, I want to do as well as I possibly can so that I won't be replaced by a robot, kind of right now kind of thing. I want to go around out there. And even though I argue for a future where AI will essentially replace human beings, I personally don't want it to happen within my lifetime. But economics has essentially suggested that it is a possibility. I recognize that it's one of those things that could actually happen.
Richard, what are you expecting what ChatGPT will respond?
I don't know. I think the first thing he's probably going to respond is, that was an awfully long speech. And I think that's probably going to be the first response he gives us. But I'm hoping that it's going to inject a little bit of humor into it, because I think that's the one thing that us humans are very good at. Whereas, of course, something like a machine isn't necessarily so good at doing. However, we'll just have to see what it does, see how long it takes. I know it's still generating right now, but yeah.
All right.
Some kind of argument coming back, though.
Okay, I think we do have a very long argument about ChatGPT.
Got some reading to do, haven't I?
If you haven't used ChatGPT is quite amazing, but one of the things that you need to try to do with ChatGPT is to imagine you are Steve Jobs. What would you reply to this? And we actually did some engineering?
Prompt engineering.
Prompt engineering to actually prop up ChatGPT. So they were think as a debater. And here we go. So Richard.
Okay. Just have to adjust my imaginary tie because obviously I'm AI. Ladies and gentlemen, whilst I appreciate my esteemed opponent's passionate plea for a robo-dominated workforce, let's keep in mind I'm an AI. And even I have to confess, who's going to appreciate a tater made by a robot? It's the human touch in that wristy flip and pull that makes it a masterpiece. Now let's talk about work. Whilst my opponent paints a picture of drudgery, I argue it's also a source of social interaction, teamwork, and those lovely unexpected moments of joy. Like getting to know a colleague's fascinating life story during lunch, or laughing about that photocopier that always jams at the wrong time. Can you imagine sharing a joke with a robot? No? I can't. He talks about AI art generators. Sure, an AI might have created a prize-winning painting, but would enjoy a Saturday party. I think not. 30% of existing work hours can be automated. Well, that leaves a whopping 70% for us humans. Remember that time when your GPS led you into a dead-end alley? Sometimes technology, like that pesky GPS, needs a little human touch. In fact, the very nature of Malaysian work culture, with its diverse array of delicious lunch spots, deep-rooted respect for seniors, and the excitement of a spontaneous young child session after work, is irreplaceable by machines. AI replacing humans in jobs is not just about economics or Moore's law, it's about the essence of what makes us human. Our creativity, our unpredictability, our emotions. And let's be honest, no machine will ever truly get the satisfaction of a well-done rundown, the nostalgia for old-school P. Ramlee songs, or the thrill of a last-minute Balik Kampung drive during festive seasons. So, Dear audience, let's not rush to be replaced by machines. Let's cherish the uniquely human experience. So let's keep the robots to assist and not to replace. Here's a white drop, but gently, because I'm programmed to look after electronics.
Okay, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm quite amazed with that actually.
The amount of references to Malaysia was quite very interesting.
Okay, so first thing first, how much improvisation you did? And how much was it read or you read in person?
Almost 100%.
Okay.
About 5% of that was improvised, but the majority of it was right there done by the
What was the error or what was the stuff that you actually?
I don't feel as though there were any errors. But the area that I kind of moved around me was the fact where it's speaking about, young char and whatever, but it's just getting it, it's nailing it.
Oh yeah, for sure. So for the record, Richard is using GPT-4. So then that's essentially the latest iteration basically of the OpenAI generative pre-trained transformer models. So essentially that is the state-of-the-art AI right there. And so what do you guys think? Do you think that was convincing? Do you think a human could have said that right there? What about the gentleman right there?
If I didn't know that it was produced by GPT-4, I definitely would not have.
It's convincing argument,
This,
right?
I draw with all the Malaysian reference basically.
Surprisingly, there was a lot of Malaysian references that you could not tell it came from GPT-4 itself.
Yeah, it felt like it wasn't just randomly generated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm by right what we're supposed to do is actually get you guys to vote, but I want to say that I think GPT won in terms of the argument.
It certainly felt a little friendlier, which is
Yeah, it felt more human, which is weird. So now I'm quite convinced this is AI.
I agree.
Yep, and secretly one of your robot overlords.
I want to do a bit of just a bit of a wrap up, just to peel off the kimono a bit. How much work was done into this preparation?
Well, I just maybe did a little bit of reading, read a couple of reports like here and there. It was probably, well, the reading and maybe like practicing. I did like a little practice session. So not super long, but definitely way longer than the AI managed to do that. That did it in barely 30 seconds.
Yeah, and one of the cool things is basically what we did was basically we got Victor to directly speak to ChatGPT. So his entire 7 minute long speech was transcribed word by word into ChatGPT, and I'm very impressed. How about you, Richard? What?
I really liked it. The response for me was, it was fun. It nailed things in a way that it made me want to know more about the character behind the AI. Obviously, there isn't a character behind it. It's just generated, but I wanted to know more about this person, so to speak.
Before we wrap up, what do you think is going to be in the future? Because this is just GPT-4.
I mean, it's one of those things whereby you have like people standing on the shoulders of giants almost. Like almost every single development in this line, like for example, GPT-3, GPT-4, that kind of thing, like those essentially built on the work of people who essentially came before us. So it's good to think about history, but not to be too bound by it.
I think, we hear this argument a lot, and even you raised it, Victor, people worrying about AI taking over our jobs. It's not necessarily going to be taking over the majority of our jobs. It's going to be supplemental to what we already do. It's going to make things much easier for us, much more convenient in just the boring stuff that we do on a day-to-day basis. Spreadsheets, Excel sheets, all of those kind of stuff that a lot of us love doing. This kind of stuff, well, some people might love doing, I don't know. But this kind of thing will facilitate the drudgery, as you said, and get rid of that and just make us be able to live a little bit easier and spend a bit more time doing the things that we enjoy doing.
What do you think though about a future where AI genuinely replaces all human beings? Well, if you get rid of work, then people will be free to work, eat, fish, play. So then, do you believe in that, or are you more of opinion that maybe there's something distinctly unique about work that makes us who we are?
It gives us purpose, right? Having a job is our, for some people, it's our guiding star on Northern Line. It's something to do, particularly for me. If I didn't have something to do to get up for every day, I would struggle getting out of bed. I wouldn't have focus. But then there's the other half of me that I mentioned in our chat group before, that if there was something like universal basic income and I could sit on a beach every day without having to work, a part of me is like, I'll take some of that, But then I think there has to be a limit to how much time that is. If AI can run my work for a month, 2 months, that I'll take. But for the rest of my life, no. I need something to focus on.
Coming from someone who has gone through a few retirement cycles, I feel like there's truth in terms of how the Star Trek ecosystem want to be in terms of that. Yes, as much as life is fairly automated in terms of that, but everyone strives to actually do stuff and that to better humanity and better themselves in the process. I think AI is definitely a tool around it, and just really looking forward to see what can we actually do. Not even, maybe next year, like the next 3 months, about the things that we can see.
I think if we did this again in a year's time, this could be entirely different. We could have two AIs debating, which we probably could have done today anyway. And that would have been a very interesting kind of debate to see how that
actually that can be done. So, yeah. Okay, so any final words before we wrap this up?
Not sure if anyone in the audience has questions at all, or like any thoughts that they would like to share at all.
Any questions now?
Any questions, burning questions?
Or anyone wants to try the debate? Anyone wants to try the debate the AI? We can do that. Yeah. Okay, then we should just say this, and thank you very much, Victor and Richard.
It's been fun. My pleasure.
It's a pleasure. All right.
Do this again.
Thank you, gents. All right. Cheers.
And thank you, Sai, for having us.
You think robots are going to replace us all?
Somewhat, they can do our nonsense work. Okay, yeah, they can do those menial tasks.
Okay.
But I think for thinking, for creativity, it's the humans,
Okay.
right?
Humans. Okay.
Yeah, because AI learns from human anyway.
Oh,
So we need to set a good example
that's
for
true.
them to learn.
That's right.
Correct.